Introduction to Beowulf. So, Beowulf is the longest poem ever recorded in all of history. It's written between 600 and 700 AD, and it's called an epic. And what that means is an epic is a long narrative poem. Sometimes it's told orally, and usually people are like sitting around a campfire sharing stories. So there's a purpose behind that kind of poem. It is talking about their religion, their culture, their history, and usually it has someone, the hero, fighting a huge battle. So think about what other kinds of epics you have read or watched movies of or have experienced before. This is one of the first kinds of literature that is documented in the English language, and really their English is not the same as ours because it happened so long ago. But because of the area where this happened, it's related with British literature. So another important part that is related with epics is the detailed and specific language that is used. So it's written by Anglo-Saxon storytellers. We don't know who exactly, but from that area, the Anglo-Saxons, they were who were living in Britain around that time. So Beowulf, who is the main character, is from Scandinavia, so like Sweden, and then he goes to Denmark with the Danes. So those two places are still there today. Like those countries still have the same names as today, which is super interesting. Their country's history is very old. So the important part of this story is that you learn about bravery and loyalty. Do you remember, monsters are evil. Words are very important. For example, anytime that they use positive words like white and light, the sun, anything like that is connected with God and good in the world. Anything that is dark and night and black is related with monsters and the devil. So right now there's a very interesting switch that's happening. So pagan religion, so think about like Native American stories from American Lit, that time. The pagan religion is now mixing with Christianity. So there's a very interesting parallel between the two right now because they're changing from one and becoming the other one. This story, as I mentioned, teaches bravery and loyalty, two very important things in British culture at this time. And also the other really important part is fate. And we have talked about fate before. Fate is what happens to you without your control. Something or someone else is controlling your future. Does that mean God? Does that mean that your name is in a book and that's happening? Or you are a sim computer game? It doesn't matter. What that means is that someone is controlling what happens to you in the future. So your fate. Okay. As I just mentioned, there's good and evil in this story. For example, anything that's good is connected with God. You have a lot of loyalty, bravery, confidence, bright light, beauty and strength, and righteousness. Okay. Evil things, darkness, blood, greed, demons, going against God, breaking the law, being ugly or different, and killing for fun. All of those things are evil. Watch this video talking about the hero's journey. That hero's journey is important because it talks about what happens in an epic. Always follows the hero's journey. Go ahead and watch this video. This is an example of the hero's journey. So usually you can pick one person, usually the main character, and their lives get impacted by something that sends them on a journey somewhere. Okay, so this is the usual arc of a hero's journey. For example, there's the call to action. So something happens that causes them to have to go and do something else. Usually they have some kind of help. Maybe like if you're watching Disney, that's one of those small animals that help like the princesses become successful. Or it's magic like in Harry Potter. Just depends. They have other support from friends or parents or teachers or something that helps them lead to where they should be going. Mentors, whatever. As they keep going, there's a lot of challenges, there's issues that keep popping up, and problems that they have to confront. So this big, it's called the climax, happens, whatever, as the top, the peak of issues, that person will change. They will have honor. Then it goes back to being regular, either back home or they have a new world that they're living in. It just depends. Here's another example of the hero's journey. You can read through it. It's talking about Star Wars, where it starts and then how it ends. Also, it mixes in some other different kinds of stories as well. So you have Superman and you have Sword in the Stone, Pinocchio, other kinds of examples throughout history, movies, books, stories, that this keeps happening again and again and again. There are two examples of fate. Go ahead and watch those movies. One is an example from one of my favorite Disney movies, Hercules. The other one is a very famous story talking about fate and what happens with death. So those are two. Go ahead and watch. Who he is really interesting. So he is a monster that lives in this area. And really, his background is kind of sad. So he has a family. And really all he wants to do is sleep. But people are partying like crazy and he can't sleep. So he is upset. So he goes in and starts killing people and eating them because he's upset. I understand if I get waken up in the middle of the night, I am crabby too. So he represents evil in this story. I just mentioned he kills many different people that live with Hrothgar, who we will talk about soon. Most of the words in the beginning of this story is describing him. What does he look like? How does he move? What does he do? And remember to pay attention to those words, because if they're related with darkness, that means he's evil. Next character is Hrothgar. Hrothgar is the king. He's the one who set up this building, Heorot, which is the mead hall. So it's like a bar mixed with a hotel. It's where all these people, the soldiers, sleep, eat, hang out, party, kind of like a dorm for the teen center. And that is where Grendel goes in and kills many, many people. So Hrothgar is the king, and he leads the military. So, good guy, bad guy, depends on whose perspective you're looking at. Technically, for this story, he's a good guy. How he is described is very honoring. He has a lot of courage and loyalty, which is very, very important, again, in the British culture at that time. Next, we have our hero, Beowulf. And he is incredibly strong. He's been in a lot of fights, a lot of wars. His father was an honored war hero too. So generationally, he has a lot to live up to. Like, his reputation is huge. Okay? He has his own army. He also became king because of his skills in war. He is very, very confident and brave and loyal, but he also wants riches and wants to become famous too. So pros and cons for sure. So is he selfish? Is he greedy? Up to you. Next character is Grendel's mom, also called the she-wolf. So she lives under the lake. She has killed many, many people as well, and she gets upset because Grendel gets hurt. And you never try to pick on a mom with her baby. It's not a good idea. And that's what happens with Beowulf as well. Her big thing is really she just wants revenge. She wants revenge against people who hurt her kid. One of the last characters that we meet is the dragon. So the dragon has won many, many battles. Many people have tried to kill the dragon but have failed. So the dragon, after he kills someone, keeps their money, their gold, coins, everything they have in the castle. And that is Beowulf's last battle that he fights. Usually the dragon, how he wins the fight is with fire. Beowulf is Beowulf's assistant, so he's second in command. He's super, super loyal, like a very good friend. Will do whatever the king asks. He's a really good fighter. Helps Beowulf fight the dragon, but also respects him when Beowulf says, "Go away, I don't want help." He has a very special sword and riches, which were given down to him from his family. And he is with Beowulf until the very end of the story. Again, it's very important to remember legacy, so your story being told and passed down, and honor and loyalty and bravery. Those are very important, again, in their culture, and that will pop up again and again and again. Beowulf is one example of he and his legacy is important. This is the Wisconsin School for the Deaf's introduction. Go ahead and watch both videos. It's inside. This is a fun wrap-up summary of what happens in Beowulf from one of my favorite YouTubers, from Thug Notes. And I want to warn you, there is some bad language in it. However, the content itself is really good. Okay. So we were just talking about like way long ago stories. This is written in 600 to 700 AD. That was a long time ago. However, this story still applies today with modern superheroes. So they have stronger than average powers. They fight against evil. They protect the public people. It's very obvious to tell who is good and evil if you pay attention to costuming, lights, what colors, what words they're using, blah, blah, blah. Another one that's really interesting is pay attention when someone looks in a mirror in movies. Because if you notice that they look in the mirror and they see their reflection, that means that there's more than one layer happening with that character. Something's going to happen. They are going to change in some way, somehow. Okay? Most of our most popular superheroes are from comic books that started in the 1930s. It's like Captain America, Hulk, Spider-Man. They started a while ago, but they're still super popular today. So that's a summary of Beowulf, and I hope you enjoy reading it.